In this module, we are going to explore the phases of a psychic heart, which are the stages that a person goes through once they experience emotional trauma and thus heart disease. These phases of your sick heart are psychic states that you enter and that in turn lead you to carry out a series of actions due to the trauma you have suffered and that lead you to carry out actions that eventually expose you to public ridicule. This is where most of my clients who have not had this therapy tell me, but how could I perform actions that harm me so much? Well, precisely for what we are going to explore here. These phases that every person who suffers from a psychic heart disease goes through, that lead him to harm himself and thereby harm others as a way to partially recover his lost self-esteem. Now, why it is important that you can learn about the states of a sick heart? Fundamentally, because recognizing these phases will allow you to regain control of your life more quickly. Once you suffer the trauma that leads you to enter a state of emotional imbalance. Secondly, because you will be able to recognize the phases of your sick heart, you will be able to strengthen your ability to regain control of your life even under adverse circumstances. Because I can assure you that your heart will continue to face difficulties. But thanks to everything we are going to explore here, you will be able to receive the blow and contain it much more efficiently than if you did not have the tools that you are going to develop here. And thirdly, you will be able to face disappointments without your social life being compromised, because you are not going to enter a state of imbalance that will lead you to perform actions that you will later regret. An example that I can give you here is that of Bridget Jones, that she is a fictional character, a woman who every time she suffered emotional trauma, she resolved it by doing crazy things in public. And that would logically cause the people around her to have a bad impression of her. Beyond how fun the movie was, the truth is that all of us enter that Bridget Jones phase, which I call it, where due to a breakup in love or disappointment, you begin to do a series of crazy things that lead you to expose yourself in front of other people. And above all, to delve deeper into your state of emotional imbalance. How is this resolved? Precisely by learning to recognize the phases that a heart experiences, which is what we are going to be doing here. So, these phases that I am talking about here are mainly four, at least the four that are most frequently repeated in my query. And we are going to work in depth on the specific sections. The first of them is the shock phase. Why is it important that you work on it? Because if you do not fix the problems that arise from this psychic state in which you enter, you will remain anchored in a supposedly ideal past that no longer exists. And therefore, your decisions in the present will be made thinking about restoring that order that you lost in the relationship that caused the heart disease that you are experiencing at this moment in your life. The second phase that you enter because of a hard heart is the phase of self-pity, in which you feel that no one loves you and that you are worthless. You know this, first, you are in a state of shock when you discover that someone has been unfaithful to you or that they had broken up with you, and after that, you enter a state of self-pity, in which you lose the ability to see your own value. And that, as you can understand, is going to bring you a series of problems. Because of that undervaluation complex that you are going to develop in this phase, you are going to carry out a series of actions that will eventually hurt you. Now, why it is important that you learn about it? fundamentally because this phase results, if you do not learn to deal with it, in the fact that you develop a complex of emotional and material dependence in relation to other people, which in turn would lead you to lose your freedom. The most important effect this has on you. Have you noticed that people who traumatically end a relationship become dependent on others? Precisely because of what I tell you here. That these people lose their confidence because they do not believe in their value. But well, we are going to explore that in depth in the respective section. Now, once you have developed self-pity, comes the third phase, which is the one in which your desire to hurt others arises. All of us who have suffered a relationship breakup apparently accepted it at one point. But there comes a time when we begin to hate the person who hurt us. At first, no one accepts it. But I can assure you that many of these states, which I encounter in my office, arise from people who want to hurt the person who hurt them on an emotional level, but do not dare to accept it, which increases in case that ex-partner they had enters a new relationship and is happy. What is the problem with this? That in this process of hating another who is no longer in your life, you are going to end up hurting those who do care about you, and with this, you are potentially going to expose yourself to being increasingly isolated from other people who could help you get out of the problem you are facing at that moment. And finally, the last phase that you are going to face because of a sick heart is that you are going to develop the fear of being hurt again. Therefore, it will be very difficult for you to enter into a relationship with someone you don't like. The biggest effect of a problem like this: you will prefer to be with people you don't like at all, so as not to suffer disappointment. All of this is going to arise from the fact that you are going to distrust your own value. And above all, because of this phase, you will lose your ability to take risks, which is eventually what could help you, not only to find the partner you really want to be with, but above all, to have the life you want. All of this that we are going to explore here is what will allow you to recognize these phases, understand what causes the emergence of the psychic states that could potentially expose you to harming others, and above all, damaging your public image. And once you have that frame of reference, you will learn the treatments you should follow when you face each of the phases to which your heart is exposed once it becomes ill. We are going to see all of this in greater depth in the respective sections. So, I will see you there.